We also talk about gaining financial prosperity, but more so we talk about things from a financial perspective or, a social perspective. But let's talk about the finances more so. So for today's live, this is actually a part two to what I said I was going to be doing before. But this is, becoming an authorized user, the pros and the cons. So for those of you that don't know what an authorized user is basically somebody that's allowed or authorized to be on your credit card. And once they're authorized to be on your credit card, they get the benefits of you having good credit. So let's begin. Let me explain exactly what I mean about the benefits. So when somebody's an authorized user on a credit card, um, every month that you pay your credit card bill or your trade line is being reported and that person's on it, and the goal of it is that to ensure that you have good credit. So every time when it's being reported, the person that's the authorized user is going to get the credit for that. So someone might ask, what is the point of being an authorized user on a credit card? Well, one would seek to become an authorized user on a credit card if they do not or cannot get any credit, right? So, as I said previously in the live before resulting to becoming an authorized user, maybe you try getting a secured credit card. And in trying to get a secured credit card, you weren't successful. So you decided that you'd want to become an authorized user. All right. So now, saying that you want to become an authorized user and being an authorized user is not easy as one, two, three. Because first of all, you have to find someone that qualifies or someone that you could find to go on their credit line or their trade line as an authorized user. So let me explain how that works. So the first thing you're going to do is, and this is where you're going to have to divulge some of your financial information to someone. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to find out basically or find someone who has good credit. You're going to find somebody who has a strong payment history. And let me explain to you the importance of the payment history. We all know that I think your payment history is about 35% of your overall credit profile. So you want to find someone that has a good, strong credit profile. Now you're not just gonna go around and select anybody randomly to find out their credit profile. You're gonna get the credit profile from somebody has good credit. So I've always advised people with an authorized user. I've always said, listen, get your authorized user's credit card from someone that you know and trust, somebody that you know that has good credit. So for example, okay, let's say whatever you're a younger person, you're just trying to build credit. Somebody that you might could go to for an authorized user credit card is probably your parents or your guardian, whoever you live with, right? Whoever you know that has good credit. If you don't have your guardian, maybe you could talk to your significant other or some other relative or someone or even a close friend. And what you have to do is, the only thing is that when you ask somebody to be an authorized credit holder, you have to basically let people know about your credit situation. They're going to know. There is no way you can avoid not letting the person know that obviously you don't have any credit, or you're trying to build credit, or you don't have a credit card. And you need for them to help you to get the authorized user profile. There's nothing wrong with that. I always say it that sometimes, we have to divulge a little bit more information than we want to, but at the same time, it's not going to hurt you to let someone know, because remember, you need that card. So when is it that people really need to become authorized users? Well, we know that everything is based off your credit profile. So whatever you're trying to buy. So for example, let's say you're trying to buy a car, trying to buy that first car or a different car, and your credit is weak or your credit is low. Now, let's say, you have a minimum credit score, maybe something at 400 or 500s. I'm just throwing some numbers out there. It's going to be very difficult for you to qualify to get a good rate on the loan. Okay, they're going to run it, but even if you stick to the loan at your own interest rate, I'm sorry, your own credit rate that you have right now, your credit score, you're going to get a horrible rate. You're going to get like such an inflated rate for that loan. So it's kind of better for you to have a lower credit score. I mean, I'm sorry, a higher credit rating. So you end up getting the better rate. All right. So let's jump back now to how you basically get your score elevated as the authorized user. So now you've done a little research and you found a candidate, you found somebody that's going to help you, because again, somebody putting you on their credit card or their trade line as an authorized user, that's actually a big favor. It's not something that people want to jump and do, because remember, it's a big line of responsibility. So you found a candidate, and how did you find a candidate? First of all, you double check and made sure that the person that you want to go on their credit card, that they have good credit. The second thing that you need to do after you find a candidate with good credit and they've agreed to help you, you got to ensure that the credit card or the trade line that they're going to put you on as an authorized user, you got to make sure that it reports to the 3 credit bureaus as an authorized user. It doesn't make sense. I don't care if it's one of them big credit cards. It doesn't make sense for you to get on somebody's credit card or somebody's trade line as an authorized user and it doesn't report, because another thing is that not all credit cards report as authorized users. They don't. Not all credit cards allow you to do it. It's actually a privilege that a lot of credit cards allow you to do. So you have the person that's going to help you to be an authorized user, and you've also checked, not just by their word, but you literally call the 800 number and you was like, listen, I'm so-and-so and I'm about to be an authorized user. I just want to ensure that you all let authorized users on, onto their credit profiles. Great. They've cleared it up. You've done it. Now you're going to be able to be an authorized user. You decided to go along with it. Fabulous. So at this point, now you go back to the person and you say, listen, I checked on the credit card. As you said, they do allow authorized users. So now this is the actual step of how you become the authorized user. So our goal of becoming an authorized user was to get the good credit rating reported through our social security number, right? Because your social security number is what the credit bureaus use to basically give you a credit report card. Okay, your credit score or your credit profile lets lenders see and know how you manage and how you spend your money, right? It's like when we were kids and we got our report cards. This let our parents know by the teachers how we were doing in school. Well, it's the same thing with the credit bureaus. Okay, the credit bureaus, that's their way of letting the lenders know how you manage money, how you're doing. So now this person has decided to put you on. You're an authorized user. You now have to give the person that's going to put you on their credit card, you got to give your social security number. Now, I know some people might feel a little iffy about it. They might feel like, well, I don't want to give them, that personal information, but there's no other way around it. And I don't think the person's going to, let you have information or privy information to call and speak with, the credit bureaus on their account, because again, this is a private account. They're just doing you a favor. Okay, so they have basically decided that they put you on and you're now there as an authorized user on the credit card. You still at this point have to do some homework. You got to check and make sure that this person, whoever it is that you're on, that they're still reporting to the credit bureaus. Basically, that they're still making their payments on time. Because it doesn't make any type of sense to be on somebody's credit profile if it's not reporting to the credit bureau accurately or they're not paying their bills. Now, bear in mind, when you get the credit card, when you get your name on their credit profile, okay, essentially you got your first credit card. When you get your name on that card and you're an authorized user, if the person decides to give you a card that you can make purchases, maybe it's your parents and they say, okay, I'm gonna give you my credit card and I'm gonna let you buy gas, whatever, go to McDonald's, I'm gonna let you make purchases as long as you pay it back, whatever. All right. If the person decides to give you the credit card and you make any purchases on it, unless you have some arrangement with the person, right? Thank you. Hi, Tara. Thank you for joining me. Love to have you in the chat room. Ask me any questions you want about authorized users. If the person allows you to make purchases, those purchases are essentially your responsibility. They're yours. Unless, again, if it's, your parents or your friend or your significant other and they say, hey, you can use the card, I'll pay the bill, I don't care, whatever. But just know that when you become an authorized user on somebody's credit card, and if you make purchases, you have to pay the purchases. You have to pay it back. You have to pay the bill, or you got to give the person the money to pay the bill. And in this day and age, it's like a trade. It's like somebody gives you something, whatever, they got to get something back in return. So that's how it works with the authorized user. The other thing that I also wanted to read it with the authorized user is this. We have to ensure that it's being reported. Now, for you to check that, the credit activity is being reported, you're not going to go and bother the person every month and say, oh, are you sure? Are you sure that it's being reported? You're not going to do that. The way that you're going to check is you're going to do your due diligence. You are going to check your credit report each month, because when you check your credit report, and you could easily check your credit report. You have Credit Karma, you have annualcreditreport.com. You got I can't even name some of the places right now, but the ones that I know, the most popular one is Credit Karma. We could literally check and see that you're getting a positive reporting every month. So each month you're going to check and you're going to make sure that it's being reported, because again, the point of you being the authorized user on the credit card is to make sure that you're getting a good reporting, you're getting a good credit reporting, right? And so 1 month, 2 months, 3 months pass by. Now, it all depends if you're in a time limit or in a time crunch, but the point of the matter is you're building up credibility over the time. You're building up your credit. So how does this help you? Let's say, for example, again, you want to buy a home. Knew of a story of a lady that was trying to qualify for, a first-time home buyer, FHA mortgage. Okay, FHA works with people, even if you're in the 500s, but, I'm sure, requirements have changed now. But the point of the matter is she needed to build her credit score a little bit higher. She already had one credit card. So FHA basically told her, they said, listen, in order for you to get this loan, or the broker for you to get this loan, you have to build your credit score up a little bit more. So, okay, this lady's trying to get, a mortgage. She's trying to get a commitment. She doesn't have any time to wait a year to, to build her credit score. So what did the lady end up doing? The lady ended up getting on somebody's credit card as an authorized user. Who it was that she got on the credit card, I have no idea. It's just something that I heard about and I thought it'd be relevant to this. But she ended up getting on somebody's credit card as an authorized user. And I'm sure it was somebody reputable that pays their bill and that she trusted. Okay? And heck, you might want to do this little trick. Like, let's say somebody decided to put you on their credit card as an authorized user and you need to buy something. Well, maybe if you buy it with the other credit card that they gave you, give them the money for it, or just, call the credit company and just pay it yourself. You know that payment went to the credit bureaus for sure, the credit card company for sure. I mean, you got to make it work for you. You got to be strategic. It's like, if you spend it, you pay it right away, so you ensure that you're getting that reporting on your credit profile. So that's what she did. She put herself on somebody's credit card as an authorized user. Somebody that she knew and trusted allowed her to become an authorized user. And maybe she watched it. I would probably think that, with the mortgage company, maybe they watch it for like 30 days to instantly boost the score, because you have times. I mean, I've heard of people getting boosted like literally like anywhere from like 30 or even like 50 to 100 points. Once they see that the bills are being paid consistently every month, it's being done. So it is very possible. It's very, very possible. You just have to basically know, how to go about it. You have to know who to ask for, or who to ask to be on their credit card as an authorized user, right? And again, an authorized user is if everything else has failed. Like, like I mentioned before, if you tried, getting a secured credit card by funding it yourself, or maybe the limit that they wanted to give in the secured credit card wasn't high enough for you to show credibility. Because remember, with credit cards, what we're trying to show is we're trying to show the credit bureaus, or we're trying to show lenders about how we manage our trade lines. Okay. And all a trade line really is, a trade line is just a line of credit that's being reported on your credit profile, showing how you're spending it, how you're trading it each month, how you're working with it, how you're spending it, and how you're trading when you're paying back each month. You're showing that you know how to manage your money. So that's essentially what a trade line is. Okay? So that is how you become, or you get, an authorized user credit card. That's how you get it. All right. I wanted to touch on something. I also wanted to talk about the main point of getting the authorized user credit card. So the main point of getting authorized user credit card is to basically what? Is to increase your credit score. Because if your credit score was high enough for what you wanted to purchase or what you're trying to buy, you wouldn't need to be or become an authorized user on somebody's credit card. You want instant results to boost your credit score, right? Now, we all know that initially when starting or getting credit, we all know that banks don't tend to just give you new credit, especially when you're building credit. It's difficult. I think everybody went through this. For some people, when they were trying to build credit, maybe their parents or whoever they live with taught them about credit a little bit, and maybe they started building, because you can have your child on a credit card for years as an authorized user. I don't know exactly what age that they start, but I know that a child could be on a credit card with their social as an authorized user. A child could be building credit literally since like elementary. Okay? Child could be building credit for years and years. So when that child now becomes an adult and they're older, they've already built credit. They've already had that quote unquote credibility. They've already done that. So you can easily get to start to help somebody to build credit, because when you put your child on your credit card as an authorized user when they're young, you're helping them to build credit, right? And I always talk about this. I say, simple little things like building credit or getting credit, like those are things that are not like easily and readily discussed. Those things are not discussed. I don't believe they're discussed in households. When I was growing up, nobody discussed with me about building credit. I learned about credit after making several mistakes with my own credit, making mistakes, overspending, tanking my score, and then basically rebuilding and cleaning up my own credit. That's how I did it. Now, you might say, where am I going with this? All of this with credit? It has everything to do with money and finance. Because when you have poor credit or your credit score is low, you get the worst interest rates. The worst. I believe that for all the people that come in there with good credit rates or good credit scores, I'm sorry, not rates, good credit scores, and get good interest rates, I believe that people that have bad credit like essentially make up for that, because I believe the lenders and the banks have to make their money some type of way. So you who has the bad credit score, or a person's credit score that's lower, they end up paying for all those people that have the good credit score, if you get what I'm saying. If you look at the analogy, like, credit scores are vital. Okay? Having the increase is like the biggest thing. Another thing is that when you have a good credit score, right? This is after you become an authorized user and you're trying to buy stuff. And I've talked about it several times. Lenders, people compete for your business. They compete for your business. They always tell you that they have a better package for you. They could do better than this lender. But think about it. If your credit score is low, right? Who's gonna compete for your business? Who's gonna want your business if your credit score is low or your credit score is poor? Right. So I believe, or I think that, having a good credit score is totally essential. It's essential. Now, I also want to point out another thing with the authorized user credit card is that before you initially ask somebody to be an authorized user credit card, you can also do some homework. You can also do your due diligence. And what I mean by due diligence, my best friend rather, Google. I would literally get up on Google, or I'd even ask ChatGPT, any one of them, and say, okay, what are the best credit cards right now that have authorized users? You could, if you don't want to call and find out, or you don't want the trouble of asking if you're going to ask about, their own personal credit profile, just Google it and find out. You do this when you know the credit card that the person has. So if they have, like, I don't know, like maybe like a Bank of America credit card, and you want to be an authorized user, all you gotta do is just basically Google it, get the number, call Bank of America, and ask, okay, listen, I know somebody that has this credit card. Could I be an authorized user on this credit card? Do you accept this? All right, that's all. And no, you don't have to be on their credit card forever. So let's talk about now. You have the credit card, or you have the credit card as an authorized user, and you're getting the positive reporting, and your credit's going up. Maybe you're on somebody's credit card for like 6 months because you say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy a new car, and for the 6 months before I buy my car, I'm gonna build my credit rating up so I can get a better score. Right. So you get the credit card now, what have you, and so if it's been the 6 months. Let's talk about now, you bought your product, whether you bought your car, you bought your house, whatever you, major purchase, whatever you're trying to qualify for, right? Because again, I think those two purchases, whether house or car, I believe that, you should try to get the best rate because those are long-term products. The house, depending on mortgage, is a 30-year product, 30-year investment. And the car, average person had their cars for like a good, 5 years, depending or not. But even if you go lease, it doesn't matter. You have it for a little while, and you're gonna have to be making those payments every month. So if your credit isn't good, you're going to pay like the worst interest rates known to man. Okay. So it's been a while. It's been a few months. Well, and you've gotten your score up. You've gotten that increase. You could buy your product. But now, after buying your product, you decide that you don't really want, to be on the person's credit card anymore. You don't really want to be an authorized user anymore. You don't want that trade line anymore. Well, it's simple. You can get off. All you have to do is just ask the person to remove you. Right. You could, yeah, it's just 1, 2, 3. Just as how they put you on, they could take you off. Right. But what you could do is because remember that authorized user was already building up your score. So before you officially leave off of that person's credit card, why don't you try getting, some trade lines on your own? Because now at this point, after being on their credit profile, on the user's credit profile as an authorized user for a couple months with the positive reporting, you already have enough credibility. Your score has already gone through the roof. So I'm sure if you were to, try to get your own trade line or your own credit card or a different credit card, right, with a decent, amount, a decent limit, I'm sure it wouldn't be that difficult for you to do it. You just have to literally ask the person, to remove you from the card. But before you get removed from the card, I would definitely try to get me a few trade lines on my own. Now, I've talked about it several times. The first trade line, now that you bought your product, you're off of the person's car, you're about to get off. Before you do it, open a trade line with Kickoff. It's like the hottest thing now. They trade lines. I think they have a trade line where you literally just pay like $5 a month for credibility. Right. Now you're not even looking for an authorized user. You're just looking for a trade line to build credibility. All right. You're just looking for a trade line to build credibility. You could do your trade line with Kickoff. And they have different ones. They have, like, you start with $5 a month. I think they have one for $20. I mean, of course, I'd go for the $5 a month one because at this point, I've already established my credit more. I've been getting positive reporting all of these months. And now I can easily just, continue where I left off and get other credit cards. And the point of the matter is that when you start getting other credit cards, just as how the person that you run the authorized user credit card, just as how they made their payments every month and they were faithful and they were diligent and they didn't blunder you, they did well. Now when you have your own trade lines in your name, your own credit cards in your name, right? Maybe you got a good 3 to 5 credit cards in your name. You got a good 3 to 5 trade lines reporting on your credit card, reporting on your credit report every month. Do the same. All right? Do the same for somebody else. Maybe somebody asks you to be an authorized user. The greatest thing about being an authorized user is this. Let's say you're not the person that is the authorized. Let's say you're the author. You're the authorized, the person that owns a credit card. If you decide to put somebody on your credit card as an authorized user, because the bank is going to issue another card, they're going to ask you if you want another card. You don't have to give the person that card. I mean, they just give the plastic to you to have in your hand, but you could literally hold that card. So what I'm saying is, if it's a case where you are now helping somebody to be an authorized on their credit card, and the second card comes, because you don't have to give address. All they wanted was a social security number. When the second card comes, you hold on to that card. Or if you want, you cut it up, you throw it away, or you could tell the bank, whatever. Sometimes they give digital cards. You tell the bank that you only want like a digital card, you hold on to that card. I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But if you now are the one that's doing the authorized user credit card, all you have to simply do is, hold on to that card while that person is building up their credit profile. It's very simple. Okay? What they say, one hand washes the other. You could do something for somebody else too. And at the end of the day, remember when you were struggling with your credit card to, to try to get to become an authorized to get your credit profile up, or to get that car to get your house. But what I want to say in closing is that authorized user credit cards, there's a lot of pros and cons to them. Pros is that it increases your credit score. Pros is that you build up your credit profile, or you enhance your credit report card, as I said. Cons is that, you got to go to somebody and you got to let them know what's going on. You got to tell people your business. And the other con about it is that the person can remove you at any time. I mean, it's their card. If they remove you before you get your product, it's a little bit sad, because it's like you didn't really get to buy, or you didn't get to build up your credit as much as you want. But I would think that if somebody has put you on their credit card, or as a joint credit card with you, I would believe that that's a person that you have a good relationship with, and you wouldn't do anything to hurt or harm that relationship. So I wouldn't really worry about having the person remove me. I mean, obviously it had to be somebody that you were close to, or you felt comfortable enough to get the authorized user credit card and initiate it. Right. So with that said, I just hope if anybody that's having any type of credit issue, and you've tried everything known to man to get an authorized user credit card, or you tried everything to get credit and you just can't get credit, I would advise you to start with the authorized user. I would. And as I said before, even if it's not the authorized user, you could also do the secured. Either way, but today's live was to focus on just the authorized user. Authorized user is the one that definitely, authorized user is the one that definitely gets you going. It's a sure way to do it. And many times I know that even in the game of the mortgages, like when a lot of people are struggling to get their mortgage because their credit score is low, a lot of times the mortgage companies or the broker, whoever you're working with, tell you like, oh, listen, you need your credit card, or you need your score up, get you an authorized user credit card. Get it immediately. Get it from somebody that you trust. All they gotta do is remove you after. Taryn, I want to thank you so much for joining me on the live today. Yes, I agree. God is good. Thank you so much. God bless you also. Does anybody have any questions for me before I sign off? Right. Okay. Steve, thank you for signing on. Right. Thank you so much. Right. Yes, we were talking about being authorized users on credit cards. Basically getting our credit profile and our credit scores up. Right. Yeah, being an authorized, that's to me, that's one of the quickest ways to get my credit profile different and to get it a little higher than what it is. I mean, we could do the good old-fashioned way of paying our bills, but sometimes, life happens, things happens, and it's really hard for us to clean up our credit scores, or it's hard for us to elevate our credit scores. So that's why I kind of think that the authorized user is a really, really great idea. I find more pros to it than cons. I don't really see it being a bad thing to be an authorized user. I mean, I think it's a great idea. And it's been done for years and years and years. It's just that a lot of people don't know about it, or they don't have people that could help them do it, or it's not being utilized. Whatever the case may be, if you're an authorized user, whatever, or somebody allow you to be an authorized user on a credit card, run with it. Run with it. Yep, run with it. It's good. I also talked about before. Yeah, I'm about to end, but I see somebody just asked me a question. Hi, Bander. How are you? Thank you for joining. Yeah, we were talking today about authorized user credit cards. Okay, we're talking about all of those things that we could use to establish credit. Right. Yeah. This is what the last slide that I had. I talked about the importance of having good credit and why it's essential to have good credit. And after this video literally went live, somebody posted and said they wanted, for me to talk a lot more about ways to get credit. Right. Yes. We talked about ways to get credit. So I was just telling people, yeah, right. For the past, few minutes, I've been telling people that a quick way or an easier way is to becoming an authorized user on somebody's credit card. Right. That's a good way to establish credit. It's a good way to start. It's a good way to build up trade lines. So that's essentially what authorized user credit card allows you to do. It allows you to build up your trade lines, and it allows you to build up credibility with the credit bureaus. You see, the one thing that I keep reiterating and I keep saying is that nobody really ever taught us about how credit works, or how it is, we use our credit, or the importance of having credit. I grew up thinking that everything is just cash. I mean, nowadays, I don't even think a lot of people carry cash. Everybody always has a card. Yeah, Bander, yes, you're right. I mean, there are many ways to to get credit. I mean, other than applying with your social security number, but I was talking about like establishing it. Like, if a lot of people have a hard time getting credit initially, when your credit profile is new, or it's, quote unquote young, lenders don't want to give you credit cards, or they don't want to give you lines of credits. So this is why it's essential to get authorized to use somebody else's credit profile to build your credibility. And all they're doing when it's authorized is that, let's say, for example, like I put you on my credit profile and I have good credit. And every month when I pay my credit, right, every month when I pay my credit, I end up, I end up reporting for you and I. So what does that mean? When the companies report to the bureaus that I paid my bill on time, because I have your social security number on my credit profile, it also reports that like you paid your bill on time. So in other words, it's like you're getting like free credit reporting off of somebody else's credit profile. Right. Yes. Right. That's something different for like another live investments. Maybe that's what I'll talk about on my next live. I do think investing is good. It's a wonderful tool. Are there any particular investments that you're into or that you like? When you say investments, do you mean like stocks, or do you mean like investing in a home, investing in a project? Like, which one? Well, I always encourage, my viewers, I always encourage my audience that they should always try to invest in something like a home. Because again, that's a 30-year investment. And this is even where this whole thing about having the card comes into play, about having the authorized user credit card. Because if a person wants to, buy a home, that investment of buying a home, which I think is like one of the biggest investment. Okay, 1 second. You're talking about income investments. Okay, like such as accounts that that give you income. You mean like stocks, dividends? Is that what you mean? Okay, so let me finish what I was saying about the housing. What I was saying about housing is that that's one of the biggest investments that you will ever, get into. Right. One of the housing is one of the biggest investments. So if you got to do it, if you got to build up your credit score to do it, then it's worth it because there's a reward at the end. I mean, after 30 years, you build up so much equity into that home, it was well worth the investment. So what I'm saying is if you're going to buy that home and you end up buying that home, it's a long-term investment for 30 years. You want to be able to get the best rate, get the best value, get the best mortgage. So this is where it goes back to authorized user on the credit card, because you're building up your credit based on that investment that you want to pursue, which is buying the home. Right. Oh yeah. Let me tell you. Okay, I see what you're saying. You're talking about real estate here. I love real estate. I think it doesn't matter what part of the world you live. You're right. It's number one because let me tell you, people always need somewhere to live. As I'm sitting here on this live, I'm sitting in my house. My number one investment. It's wonderful. People always need somewhere to live. 100%. And what's funny is that you have people that don't want to invest. You have people that don't want to buy homes or they don't want to buy apartment buildings. But I know that with an apartment building or a multi-unit development, that's such a great way to make money also. Right. I knew, I remember many years ago, I was at one job. I knew a gentleman that I used to work with that was thinking about buying apartments too. And again, now that I think about it, I mean, I wasn't interested in stuff like that, but he was talking about like qualifying for the mortgage. And he was telling me that buying like an investment property is more, it's harder. It's more work than buying like a single family home. And I do know this. I do know that when you buy like a house, if you get like a certain thing like a FHA mortgage, they might require you to only put like I think 3 to 5% down. Right. That's right. Billionaire's Mind. I don't even know what it is now, but I know that when you're buying an investment property or like a second home, they require you to put so much more money down. They want you to put so much more down than when you're buying the first home because, I mean, well, why do you think they do? I think it's because they know that, with an investment property, whether it's an apartment unit or just like a regular one family rental, they know you're going to make money with it. Right. People always need somewhere to live. It's the mindset of the millionaires. They think about tomorrow. But nowhere have I ever heard of in my life where real estate wasn't something that made a lot of money. Like, it's good. It's good. And all of this goes back to having good credit. All of this goes back to building your credit. All of this goes back to, if you have bad credit, to becoming an authorized user. Because once you build those things up, you'll be able to qualify for the better rates. Okay? You'll be able to qualify for better rates on products that you are trying to, to grow, basically. Products that you're trying to, to buy. Right. I don't know. I think a lot of people also, I always talk about it on my channel, like you said, the mind. Right. Right. What is this? You said Bay at 3.5%. Which one is that one? I was saying that you have to have your mind right. Once your mind is right, you kind of know exactly, what you want to work on or what project you want to go to. I don't care what you're doing. If your mind isn't right, it's not going to work. So you have to ensure that what you're doing makes sense. You have to ensure that what you're thinking about is actually, realistic. Can you please explain what Bay 3.5% is? I'm not really familiar with that. What is that? What is Bay 3.5%? Right. Yeah. Explain. I haven't heard of that one before. I don't really know what that is. Okay. All right, no problem. I'll wait. I have time. I have a lot of time. So, okay, I see you wrote one SAN, one SAN. What's that one? How does that one work? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any questions other than that? Well, for those that are new to this channel, you could comment, you could like, subscribe, share. Right? I always appreciate your input. If there's any topics that you want me to specifically talk about, or you want me to, emphasize or express, and I could definitely do it. Again, today's live was about, becoming an authorized user on a credit card. It's a great tool. If you're having difficulty building or getting credit, consider speaking to somebody to help you out in that situation and to get you, quote unquote, authorized on their credit card. With that said, team, have a wonderful day. And I thank you so much for joining me on this live. Okay, bye bye.